The effort underway to appoint our next police chief is a fool's errand. One city councilman lashes out at a frequent agitator at city hall meetings. Meanwhile, Governor Greg Abbott prepares to send a bunch of illegal aliens to the city of brotherly love, while Trump plans to make a big announcement tonight. In our interview segment, you can learn about a Christmas toy drive for the Children's Advocacy Center. You can learn how to help there. Finally, the Wall Hawks prepare for their first game in the Texas high school football playoffs. Prepare for lots of news, because this is live. We will get to the news in a minute, but first, next week at Myers Drug and Boutique is their annual Christmas sale. The sale kicks off Monday with 30% off all mud pies. Plus, you could spend $75 or more and get a free mud pie gift. On Tuesday, 30% off all bags, including those Katie Loxton bags. Then on Wednesday, it's buy one, get one free on toys and leggings. But on Friday, that's Black Friday, they will have a tote sale. Anything you can fit in a tote will be 30% off, plus you get a free Christmas shirt with a $75 purchase. Myers Drug and Boutique, located in the heart of downtown San Angelo at the corner of Beauregard and Chadbourne. Go see them today, but certainly we want to go see them next week. Also, be on the lookout this Thursday as San Angelo Live and Myers Drug hosts what we call the Myers Minute. This is a live stream holiday special, and we'll show you all the great deals at the store, so tune in. We start off our news with an opinion. How the rehashed topic of a ballot initiative to change the way San Angelo selects its police chief is not known. But the movement to have the city manager and council select a chief instead of the current police chief election is certain to fail. Proponents of changing the process do not understand the political environment of 2022. The police can take away anyone's freedom. That's how the law works. In this regard, I believe it's important to review two significant episodes to describe how far our country has departed the rule of law. Let's roll back to May 2020. Riots erupted in cities across the country over the death of George Floyd at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. Appointed police chiefs in urban areas were not prepared for the onslaught of Antifa operatives who burned down major sections of their cities. Nor did these police chiefs possess the political capital to withstand the guilt-infused arguments of the radical left. That political capital was in the hands of city managers and council, who did very little to support their appointed chiefs. 6 blocks of Seattle were occupied by protesters, and the police abandoned a satellite police station. Similar situations happened in Portland, Oregon, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Federal law enforcement agencies were even called in to quell rebellions in Portland. In San Angelo, the radical left had no capability to do to downtown San Angelo what was done to urban centers up north. But still, at least 2 Black Lives Matter protests were organized here. There was no physical violence, but the verbal lashing was harsh. Our police force, under the leadership of an elected chief, was better able to walk the fine line by protecting the public while allowing citizens to express their political point of view via protesting. He did it better than any police chief who was appointed could. Even a star was born when Officer Craig Thomason, who quickly diffused an angry protester by engaging him. At the end of that engagement, the two sides, a San Angelo police officer and a BLM protester, actually shook hands. That officer was able to engage with that protester because he was using the elected police chief's political capital. An appointed chief would be too timid to allow his officers to take such a risk. Indeed, a report released in September told a story of a Seattle city government unable to hold the police department accountable to maintain law and order. In San Angelo, we have a city government struggling with issues at the animal shelter and an open revolt at its development corporation. Will adding the stress of requiring city management to handle law and order be beneficial to taxpayers? In April of this year, social media outrage prompted hundreds of calls to the San Angelo Police Department demanding justice for two gay men who were offended by a young woman's response when the two men approached and insulted her. Calls and internet messages pelted the police department, demanding her arrest. The police stayed quiet while the organization conducted its own internal affairs investigation. At the same time, the police department supported the actions of the responding officer. That day, who was doxxed. That officer was actually doxxed online with more calls originating from nationwide locations, demanding that the responding officer be disciplined for not doing enough to protect the two men who were at worst offended by what the young woman said to them. Our police department was not intimidated to make unnecessary arrests or carry out an agenda for the radical left. And it was because they could rely on the political capital of an elected police chief, not a police chief appointed by the city manager or the city council. The case of the young woman, Evan Berryhill, is further complicated because one of the men who approached her that night works for the police department as a dispatcher, and his mother is a San Angelo Police Department patrol officer. Although police found insufficient evidence to arrest Berryhill that night, County Attorney Chris Taylor ordered her arrest after a grueling 4-month investigation. The trial has been reset to January 2023, and we don't have to re-elect Chris Taylor. Also in 2020, a man named Jack Miller was unlawfully detained by our police for not identifying himself. Police had no legal authority to handcuff the man. However, in an effort to preserve his political capital, elected police chief Frank Carter provided a transparent investigation into the affair and openly announced his department's findings. His police officers had made an error, he said, but Carter made a political decision not to fire the officers. He held the political capital to deal with the issue internally. While having an appointed police chief will open a larger pool of candidates available to be our next police chief, there are perils of hiring someone from elsewhere. In Del Rio in 2012, the city council hired Police Chief James Von DeBrow, a former DPS trooper, and he was charged with cleaning up the police force. DeBrow was met with intense resistance from within the force as he attacked the problem DeBrow said was with the police evidence room. Factions on the police force rebelled, and the city manager was drawn into a protracted battle between DeBrow and some inside the police department, the city council, mayor, and many citizens. Having an appointed chief is said by proponents to quell internal strife. In Del Rio's case, without an orderly process like a police chief election, the cancer spread throughout the city and stayed there for quite a long time. The police morale problem was eventually solved when Del Rio City Council appointed an insider, Fred Knoll, to take the helm after DeBrow resigned. Former Austin Police Chief Art Acevedo was a high-flying chief candidate, rapidly rising up the big city police chief circuit. He left Austin for Houston, where public opinion about his tenure was mixed. In fact, Acevedo resisted many of the far left's demands for defunding the police. He called out the leftists for recruiting protesters from outside Houston to arrive in his city and agitate. Maybe Acevedo had the correct viewpoint on this, but he lacked his own political capital to maintain his authority, and the city manager and council would not support him. He eventually was recruited away from Houston by the city of Miami, Florida, where he engaged in a quarrel with the city commission there. It was over his belief that the Magic City was controlled by the Cuban mafia. Now, you got to understand, Acevedo was a Cuban himself. After his suspension in Miami, he became what other people become when they get fired from 3 police chief jobs, a CNN contributor. The point is that appointed police chiefs frequently do not end well. The Bureau of Labor Statistics say that 40% of all appointed police chiefs in America last 2 years or less. The secondary argument of the city's charter committee to appoint a police chief is that the ordinance has no minimum requirements for who can run for chief, except that the candidate must be at least 18 years old and be a resident of San Angelo. Basically, these are the same requirements to become a county sheriff in Texas as it has been for over a century. Sheriffs are elected too. But how many 18-year-old sheriffs have you seen elected in Texas? The Charter Committee did not know. The express need to add a professional requirements for a candidate to run for police chief is a way to stick the camel's nose under the tent and give proponents of the appointed chief an inch. And watch, they'll take a mile if we modify the ordinance next year. We will be back here in a few years debating whether or not San Angelo should appoint instead of elect its police chief. Trust me. Proponents of appointing a police chief fail to understand the circumstances we find ourselves in the year 2022. An elected police chief is not without its drawbacks or of restricting the pool of candidates, but unrestricted candidate pools also have their detriments. The strongest argument for retaining the elected police chief position is that the election process provides the police chief his or her own political capital to tackle controversial issues. In 2022, there is no deficit of controversial political issues that encompass community policing. The effort underway is a gigantic waste of time. The City Council should disband the committee and return to solving real problems in city government, like, cleaning up that mess at the animal shelter or quelling the ongoing revolt at the City of San Angelo Development Corporation. Look, city management folks, I love y'all, but do you really want to deal with all of society's problems by taking over the police department on top of all that? Well, the opinion's over, and now it's on for the news. The San Angelo City Council on Tuesday morning had an interesting public comment section. City Council agitator Zane White was back again to call out, quote, corruption, unquote, during his ongoing feud between himself, the San Angelo City Council, one of the City Council's wealthiest citizens, and the owner of the Cactus Hotel, Lee Pfluger. This time, White focused on the city manager, Daniel Valenzuela. Let's watch.
The City of San Angelo Code of Ordinance legally mandates that the Hotel Cactus sign immediately either be appropriately renovated or immediately removed. As you know, Daniel, when Lee Pfluger fails to do either of those, the City of San Angelo is legally mandated to immediately remove the sign and then to legally force Lee Pfluger to reimburse the city for removal expenses. These financial facts are just some of the dirty little secrets regarding this corruption. Maybe the City of San Angelo government doesn't want to be forced to spend an enormous amount of city funds to remove the sign. Maybe the city is anxious about having to legally force Lee Pfluger to reimburse the expenditure of those funds. There are many other obvious maybes regarding this corruption, but we'll leave those for another time. It's truly disturbing and infuriating that this entire city council continues to hide behind the obvious lies from City Manager Valenzuela and City Attorney Teresa James that my allegations are false. You should be ashamed of yourselves for not conducting due diligence as you are sworn to do on behalf of San Angelo's citizens. City of San Angelo's sign code regulations are crystal clear regarding this matter, and none of the insultingly outrageous legal interpretations by city officials can change that fact. I formally challenge Daniel Valenzuela or any other city official to publicly offer a legitimate defense, a legally legitimate defense against my corrupt allegations.
Thank you very much. Teresa, you want to answer some questions and comments?
Well, corrupt allegations. This is pretty typical of Zane White, who's been adamant that the city do something about that old sign on top of the Cactus Hotel. This time, however, Zane White was met with a fed-up city councilman named Tom Thompson. Thompson told White to shut his cake hole. Let's watch.
In February 22, city staff and council members were made aware that Mr. Zane White was proposing a project to renovate the Cactus sign. When the efforts to the proposal failed, Mr. White began what he termed, and this is his words, an aggressive campaign to get the city of San Angelo to take enforcement against Mr. Pfluger to compel him to agree with Mr. White's project or otherwise repair the sign. Recent decisions by the U.S. Supreme Court severely limit the ability of the city to find sign violations based upon the content of the sign, rendering portions of our sign ordinance unconstitutional and unenforceable. Since the property owner changed the sign to read as it does intentionally, and there are no structural or safety issues that have been found, the sign cannot be found abandoned or defective. I mean, that's just how it is, merely because we want it to look a different way. Though notified that the complaint was closed, Mr. White has acted towards city staff and city council, and I witnessed this again last night at a town hall meeting. These actions include, the first one is gaining access to City Hall building while it was closed during the lunch hour and attempting to enter the city attorney's office when it was closed. He publicly criticized and accusing members of city council and city staff of corruption through social media, but requesting to be friends or join their private social media accounts. And Mr. White, it is at this point I'm notifying you that your requests are unwanted and to stop attempting to contact me on any of my social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. On October 28, 2022, Mr. White made a formal criminal complaint against City Manager Daniel Valenzuela, alleging abuse of official capacity and official oppression after Mr. White was removed from the city's attorney's office by the San Angelo Police Department. On November 8, 2022, after reviewing the body cam video of the removal of Mr. White, the ranger declined to conduct an investigation into Mr. White's complaint. His statement is, there's no basis for the investigation, as I could not find nothing in Mr. White's complaint, nor in the body-worn camera videos which would constitute a criminal offense committed by City Manager Valenzuela. We found it important to request to say this. Sometimes it's questionable whether what we say appears on a personal agenda or a public agenda or how we represent council. But this right here is our summary of all the accusations that you have brought forward to us. If you have anything else, we wish you would, make that request of city attorney, but at this point, the accusations we have here in this whole place is closed. I'm done.
Yeah, it's closed. So apparently Zane White had been detained and escorted out of the city attorney's office back in August. Because of this, White filed a criminal complaint with the Texas Rangers. In that complaint, White accused city manager Daniel Valenzuela of abusing his power as city manager. The Rangers found no criminal action. For more on this story, check out sanangelolive.com. Next, the Texas governor. We love our Texas governor, Greg Abbott, because on Tuesday, he announced that a new city will be joining his list of illegal migrant drop-off points. And what better place to put people looking for a welcoming home than the city of brotherly love? This comes after the mayor of Philadelphia, Jim Kennedy, made the U.S.'s sixth largest metropolitan area a sanctuary city for illegal aliens. Philadelphia joins the list of drop-off points along with Chicago, Washington, D.C., and New York City. While Greg Abbott is dropping off illegals in Philadelphia, in national news, the world is preparing tonight for a major announcement from former President Donald J. Trump. On social media, he wrote, "Hopefully tomorrow will turn out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country." Interesting, after a week that the Republican Party had in the Senate and the House elections, the government seats, one can only imagine what he will say. In other words, in other news, polls have been coming out saying Republicans might want Florida Governor Ron DeSantis instead of Trump. Well, there's a while before the 2024 presidential campaigns ramp up. But if it were happening right now, who are you supporting, Trump or DeSantis for the Republican nomination for president? You can comment below. We'll see if anyone's watching this far in. In sports news, the Wall Hawk football team had a bye week during their first week of playoffs, but now has to come on and take on a tough Childress Bobcat team. Cover One analyst James Bellini spoke with Wall's head coach, Houston Guy, ahead of Friday's tough matchup in Breckenridge. Let's watch.
The Wall Hawks are taking on the Childress Bobcats this Friday at Buckaroo Stadium in Breckenridge after coming off a second bye week last week. Normally, high school teams don't get a second bye week, and the Hawks were all set to play Tornillo, but the Coyotes couldn't field a team and actually had to forfeit the last few games of their season. Also, they're in a 4-team district, so they made the playoffs regardless. I made the short trip out to Clayton Weissoon Field yesterday and talked to head coach Houston Guy about what that does for your team, good or bad. Most of the time, a bye week is a good thing, and when you look at the Hawks, though, they had just run the table in their district, they're a perfect 5-0, and they'd only allowed 17 points during that span. They were rolling. Not only does that throw your team off a little bit now, your seniors do lose a game. So how do the Hawks respond? We know the Hawks are a well-oiled machine, and Coach Guy and his staff just won't let their players slip. Also, they knew the second round was going to be one of two teams, so they watched the Childress-Coahoma game closely last week and prepared all the same. I keep talking about the Hawks. Let's hear it from the man himself, Coach Guy. All right, Coach Guy, Wall Hawks out here. First off, y'all lost the game last week. That can't, y'all are playing really well. Does that mess with your team at all? Or
as we were coming into the playoff run, we felt like we were playing, as good as we have all season long. You're hitting on all cylinders. Your defense was playing really sound and great football. Your offense was clicking, and your special teams was looking really good. And so you don't want to take that bye week off. We didn't want to, but that was the cards we got dealt. And so we prepared last week like it was a game week. We took it real serious. Our kids, were focused and they were locked in. We knew we had one or two teams, so we repped both of them last week, and then drawing Childress after Friday night. We drew Childress and had a really good practice today.
all right, how does Childress look on film? How do they look?
They're scary good. They've got their offensive defensive line are really sound. They're big physical kids. They've got a receiver that's very, very difficult to cover. We're gonna have to make sure we keep him in front. They got a good running game. The quarterback takes care of the football and doesn't make bad decisions, and so they're a very sound football club.
We all know what Wall can do offensively. Nathan Pepper, Gunnar Dillard, Garrett Guy, Jaden Sellers are just a few players who have touched the ball for the Hawks, and they've spent the season rushing for 3,347 yards and 43 touchdowns. But it's the Hawks' defense that can really be a difference maker in the playoffs. Junior Dylan Gidney and sophomore Brylan White get after the quarterback, and look out for Hawks defensive back Ryan Allen to be on Bobcat wideout Lamont Nickelberry. The Hawks have a pretty good chance to make a pretty deep run, and Cover 1 will be in Breckenridge this Friday for their first taste of the 2022 playoffs. So you have to tune in to Cover 1 this Friday for the Wall updates, exclusive coaching interviews, scores, highlights, and more at around 4, 8, and 10 o'clock only on SanJoLive.com. Before I let you go, and while I've got you here, Wall had a special event today where two of their athletes, Cameron Williams and Everson Armstrong, signed with Angelo State University. They'll both be in the gym as Miss Williams signed to play volleyball. Mr. Armstrong will be playing basketball. We wish you all the luck in the world. Congratulations, guys. That's amazing. Stay tuned to San Angelo Live for that write-up when it comes out.
For more than 25 years, Carpet has been serving our customers and communities with floor care and emergency restoration services. I'm Cade Simmons. Thank you for welcoming Carpet and my family to the Concho Valley. We look forward to serving you.
All right, welcome back to the show. We have a very special guest, a returning guest. This is the second time on, in the last couple of months or so. It's Mr. Cade Simmons over here from Carpet Tech. Cade, how's it gone since the last time I've seen you?
It's going well, man. We slowly but surely getting busier day by day.
Yeah.
People here are extremely nice, like I said last time, and they're helping us spread the word and scheduling some jobs, so it's going well.
Well, we're here because we're going to talk about something that y'all are already giving back to the community. I mean, you've only been here, what, 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, month and a half.
Month and a half, and you're already going to be giving back to something for San Angelo people out there. And what you're going to be doing is you guys are partnering with the Child's Advocacy Center of Greater West Texas, and y'all are going to be doing a toy drive.
That's right.
So kind of talk to me about the toy drive first. What exactly is it?
Right, so the toy drive, we've been doing it for 19 years. Okay. What it is we come out, we clean your carpet, and in exchange for a new unwrapped toy, we'll give you a free carpet cleaning for free. So.
All right, so basically if you got a 2-bedroom house, right? The first bedroom, pay for it.
Yep.
Second bedroom, all you got to do is give us a toy.
Absolutely.
And you get your bedroom.
That's correct.
For free.
And we'll give it to a local child here in need and hopefully help make their Christmas a little brighter. So.
Yeah, of course, with the Advocacy Center, that specific group is designed here to help out kids who are going through stuff, right? So maybe a Christmas toy will just make them smile, right? That's
Absolutely.
Kind of the hopes that you guys are having.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, they're here locally. They do a lot of local business, so we really like to help out local and keep it here in town. So help out the people that are helping us out. So
there you go. So y'all at Carpet Tech have been doing this for some time. You told me that y'all been doing it for almost 2 decades now. Kind of talk about what were some of the things that you personally have seen with your experience, and maybe not, this is your first time doing it in San Angelo, but you've done it in the past. What are some of the things that you see that kind of make it all worth it, I guess, to run this toy drive?
Absolutely. So, as far as the toy drive itself goes, we've had crazy success with it, and especially Lubbock, that's where I came from. So, truckloads of toys, we'll take them over there. We get to see the kids. We get to see, the people running the show over there, kind of giving them away. And it really makes it all worth it in the end. So it's really cool.
To see the big smiles on their faces.
Absolutely.
The craziness.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Some of those kids, they open something and they may be the only Christmas gift that they get this year. So make sure you go ahead and how are we getting in touch with you guys, and how can we participate in
Yes,
this?
so to participate, you can call our office 325-999-5142, or you can go on our website www.carpettech.com. Schedule it, mention it whenever you call, that way they can put it in the notes. When we come out to do the service, the technician, myself, will pick up the toy for you. You're not responsible for bringing it in or anything like that. We'll handle it all. Like I said, it's just all about the kids and getting the toys, so we'll make it as easy as we can.
So that's what y'all doing. I mean, y'all may have to do a little free work at the end of the day, but that's the goal, right? Is just to give something more to those kids.
It's worth it, man. Like I said, really appreciate anyone who participates. So,
for sure,
help us out.
Okay, so talking to a carpet cleaning expert, right? It's getting around that time of the year. It's been a long year. It's the end of the year. What are we thinking about for carpet cleanings when we're coming down to to this time?
Right, absolutely. So everyone, holidays is also as a crucial time for people to get their carpets cleaned. You got family, relatives, friends coming into town, so you want it to look as sharp as you can, as nice as you can.
Right.
So holler at us. We'd love to help y'all out and get your house back in order before the in-laws come.
Absolutely. I know all the dogs running around your house right now because it's cold. You don't want to leave them outside, so there's plenty of hair laying around.
Absolutely.
Call Cade Simmons over here at Carpet Tech, and he'll make sure to get you looking right before the holidays. But don't forget, they are having a toy drive right now, and this is them partnering with the Child's Advocacy Center of Greater West Texas to get some toys. You can participate. All you gotta do is call Carpet Tech, pay for one room, give them a toy, and they will hook you up with the other room for free.
Absolutely.
All right, Cade, thanks for being on the show today. And like I said, you took me up on the offer. Anytime you guys have something that y'all are doing, let me know, and
Yes,
we'll make
sir.
sure to let everybody else know.
Yes, sir. We'll do it.
All right, perfect. This is over here at the Carpet Tech Studios, over here on 1225 South Oaks. Go check them out. Give them a call today. It's Carpet Tech. Until then, we'll see you guys back in the studio.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Kano stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Kano's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo.
Well, thank you, Cade Simmons at Carpet Tech and Matt Trammell for that little interview segment about the Children's Advocacy Center. Of course, we all want them to have a wonderful Merry Christmas, so make sure to help them out. Anyway, this has been the San Angelo Live News. We call it the Live TV News at 4 o'clock. We do a little bit of different things every day. We tried some different things today by leading with an editorial. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow every day around 4 o'clock. We do a live stream. And, of course, the video's up on our website at sanangelolive.com, on Facebook, Twitter, which Twitter is really gaining a lot of momentum since Elon Musk took over. We like a lot of engagement on Twitter. And, of course, Facebook always carries our stuff. But anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.